we humans are being implanted with some kind of an electrical device. The idea that you can carry inside your body somewhere, anywhere, a piece of metal which is beeping a signal, and you don't know it. There are, in actual fact, extraterrestrial life forms here that are not indigenous to this earth, but are from somewhere else, and their technology is so far superior to us that they can put things in our body when we're sleeping and track us and do all kinds of things to we humans that we will never even suspect it. Dr. Leir got involved in alien implants. People were finding, if you fall and break your arm or sprain your wrist or something, you need to get an X-ray. And when people would get X-rays, they would find in the X-ray a little small piece of metal in their body, in their foot, leg, toe, arm, hand, whatever. But it wasn't bothering them. Normally, if you get a piece of metal inside the human body anywhere, it's going to show itself very quick. But people find that there were little metal particles in their body, and they wouldn't know about it unless they happened by chance to get an X-ray and it showed up. And so for some reason, Dr. Leir, I got involved with one of those cases and decided it was in the leg, I believe, or in the foot of one person. And so he operated and cut into the foot and found this little metal object. And that began a whole operation. That began a whole career for Dr. Roger Leir that he later became world famous for, because he discovered that this little piece of metal was actually transmitting an electrical signal. And they were able to find out. He sent the little piece of metal to I think it was one of the Paul might remember the name of the laboratory. I think it's in New Mexico, and they reported back to him that this metal did not have the ingredients from metals have on the earth. So the metal did not come from the earth, and it was some kind of a device that was beeping and that had the ability to send frequencies to someone. And that opened up a whole world of research that became very well known among the UFO people, among people in the truth movement. Dr. Leir had discovered that there were implants of some kind, highly sophisticated implants being put into people's bodies that were electrical, that were beeping signals. And he started doing operations on people. He did quite a few and saved these little metal implants as evidence. And there's been some very famous cases about his finding of these metal implants. Now the implication is horrendous. The idea that you can carry inside your body somewhere, anywhere, a piece of metal which is beeping a signal and you don't know it. Well, we can talk about how that's possible, because obviously if you get a piece of metal by chance in your arm or in your hand, it's going to be infesting very quickly, and you're going to see it, and you're going to know there's something wrong in your leg or your arm. And you need to have it removed quickly, because the body will show you that you've got something that's foreign to the body and it wants it out. But these implants, nobody knew were in their body, no matter where they were, until they happened by chance to get an X-ray, and the little beeping implant began to show up on X-rays. That's the only way they knew it was in there. We could talk about how that was possible later. But Dr. Roger Leir has written many books and traveled the world, and I do mean traveled the world. He was all over the earth continually, in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, in Russia. He went all over the world giving lectures to audiences about the medical findings that he was having in taking these little metal implants out of human bodies. And so, and he, as I said, he wrote many books about it, and there are many videos out on the YouTube with Dr. Roger Leir. So you go to the YouTube after the program and go to YouTube and look up Dr. Roger Leir, L-E-I-R. And you will see him doing the operations. He will explain to you what he's doing, how these things operate, how they work. It's just an extraordinary knowledge to know that humans on the earth, all around the world, are being implanted but with some kind of a homing device, which, you know, they don't even know is in their body, and they wouldn't know ever unless they happened by chance to have had an X-ray. There were a few very famous cases where the people found that they had this. Whitley Strieber, I think, was one who had an implant. And Dr. Leir was telling me about him. Alien implants, and that's the only word you can use is alien, because they were not, even the metal itself did not have the qualities that metal does on this earth. So he was able to establish that the metal, the superstructure of the metal itself was not of this earth. So somebody was implanting humans like we do, animals and dogs and cats and animals, for whatever reason. And not necessarily were these implants being put there to track people, because obviously whatever technology was able to do this and how it worked was so sophisticated they didn't need to know where you were. With that kind of technology, whoever was doing this would know how to find you. They would know where you were. So what were these implants really doing, and what were they all about, and who was putting them into people, and how was it possible that they were found deeply inside human bodies, in their feet and arms and legs and hands, but deep inside, where you'd have to, like Dr. Leir did so many times, have to go in and cut and go way inside the human tissue to find it, and then to cut it out and bring it out and put it out for people to see, and then send it to laboratories for governmental laboratories to test and see what these things were. I just think the whole subject is just absolutely a mind trip, thinking about how we humans are being tagged by somebody who has the technology to do that, and do it in such a way that your body and you both will never know they did it. I know how Dr. Leir has talked with both of us, but he talked with me often about how these things work, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, and why the body did not recognize the piece of metal as being foreign to the body and cause an infection, to show the world that we humans are being implanted with some kind of an electrical device which is beeping a signal. All of them, I need to throw this in too, all of these people that he operated on, they had no scar tissue on the outside of the body at all. There was no way to tell, because whoever, whatever it was that was able to go in, cut into your body and connect this little electrical device but then coming back out of your body did not leave a scar, period. There was no way to tell that anything had been, nothing was in your body that you could see or feel. And Dr. Leir told me one time the reason, a couple of things about these little devices. One, as he said, they were electrical, and they were sending out signals. And the particular signal that all of these little devices was broadcasting on was the same identical frequency that NASA has developed for their space flights. And it was a very, very secret, special frequency that only NASA was allowed to use, and that even other governments in the world did not know about this frequency, and Dr. Leir didn't even know about it until one of the laboratories that he sent these things to be tested to see what they were. One of them happened to tell Dr. Leir, and incidentally, the frequency that this little object is beeping on is a particular frequency that the astronauts use to communicate with Earth. And so that was interesting. And then Dr. Leir confided in me also, how did these things work if they were electrical, if they needed to be, have a battery or something. And he said that whoever was putting these little devices in you was able, they had the technology and the brilliance to know how to connect their little devices to your nerve endings in your body. And they would pick a larger nerve ending and connect it to this little object so that your biological electrical body, the electricity your body produces 24/7, that's how you are able to move and to live, is because you're a biological, electrical, or a battery, so to speak. And so these little objects would be connected to a nerve ending which fed electricity to these little beeping instruments. So that's fascinating. And he said in the second part was why the body could not see them, and you would not necessarily feel them, unless, of course, they were very close to your skin where you could actually feel it, but just touching the spot. But most of them were deeply embedded in the arm and leg and whatever, so that you wouldn't know they're there unless you took an x-ray. Well, he said the reason why the body did not, on anyone, the body did not report something foreign in it is because he said they discovered that these little electrical devices, very small, but they were covered with he said a plastic-like, a celluloid or plastic-like film wrapped around these devices, as if they took the device, connected it to the nerve, and then dumped it and then dipped it into some kind of solution which sealed it. And in that plastic sealing of this device, your DNA from your body was in that plastic material so that the body would not see it, because it has your DNA in this material that was wrapped around this little device. So your body did not see it because it's your own DNA. And so whoever was doing this was very clever to know that the body would show quickly unless you seal it with some sort of a solution or some sort of a plastic material, and in that material coat it with your DNA so that the body would not even recognize it. So I just thought that was interesting, and whoever has that kind of technology to cut into your body, and when would they be doing it that you wouldn't know? It had to be when you're sleeping. And so somebody was able to cut into your body, put a little electrical device that has a coating with your DNA on it, and connect it to a nerve ending in your body to power it, and put it back, and then sew you back up in such a way that you would never even see a scar, and you would never even know it's there. So I'm saying that whoever was able to do this and did it many, many times, and has probably done a lot more times that people don't know yet, it implies it was not human. You know, you'd have to, if a doctor's going to do something like that, which you can't, we don't have that kind of technology, and we can't do it while you're sleeping. So whoever was doing this, this implanting of humans, you can say what you want, you can mock it and laugh at it and think it's nonsensical and silly, but the fact is he had quite a few of these. I think he said there were either 9 or 13 different ones he himself kept, and had them tested at universities and laboratories around the world, one in Germany, one here in America, others around the world. He had these things tested, and every time the test would come back and say, these are not from the earth, we don't know what they are, but they have the capacity to beep out a signal. So what does all of this imply? I don't know what it implies. I just thought it was fascinating, and the one thing I do know about it is it was true. And I've seen some of those articles, and other people, I've heard them and their experience when they were talking about the operation and what Dr. Leir was able to do. So I just think that's very important to keep in mind. This is not fantasy. It's not some UFO silliness. This is legitimate medical discovery of metal implants in humans that are beeping some kind of a signal, and whoever put it into the people are very highly technically sufficient to do such a thing. So I just think the whole subject is a mind trip, and the implications are overwhelming. And so that's why Paul and I wanted to talk about Dr. Leir's work tonight. Again, just go on the web to Dr. Roger Leir, L-E-I-R, and if you want to get his books, which are phenomenal books, strange and interesting stuff he was talking about in relation to these little electrical devices. As government, people do not want this kind of knowledge getting out into the world of mankind, that there are in actual fact extraterrestrial life forms here that are not indigenous to this earth, but are from somewhere else, and their technology is so far superior to us that they can put things in our body when we're sleeping and track us and do all kinds of things to we humans that we will never even suspect it. That's how far advanced these extraterrestrial, what the government has finally agreed to call them as EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities, or alien life forms from other places in the universe who have come here and are implanting metal objects into people to somehow or another, and that's another subject we have to get to, the actual purpose of these electrical beeping objects that Dr. Leir began taking out of people. What was the purpose? And I asked him one time, was it to track you, to know where you're going and to track you, which was, you could do with a car, and you could do with, if you have a little beeper, you can stick it on the car and then you can watch where it's going. And so I asked him, is that what the reason for the implants were, so that somebody from other worlds who are here can track you and know where you are? And he said that was his opinion. He didn't know for sure. And he said, but I don't think so, because of the people he talked with, the other scientists around the world that he was confiding all of this information with. He said the general consensus was no, they're not tracking you as such to know where you are, because they're too smart for that. They know where you are. Anytime they want you, they know where you are. But they was putting something in your body which was able to monitor your evolution. They can monitor your body to see if you were sick, if whatever it is that's going on inside of you and your body, they could tell instantly because of these little implants.
I've heard that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily. He said, we don't know for absolute sure, but it appears that these little things, these little electrical devices, were able to monitor your body and monitor your life, and they could tell if if you're sick or if you got a disease or something. And why? Well, it may be because they own, or they created you, or they are using you, which we do. We do that with pigeons and birds.
Yeah, and
we put little homing devices on them, but they don't know. I mean, they don't know. They just do what they do. Those little implants, as I said, were covered after they were connected to your nerve endings. So whoever was doing this to you when you're sleeping knew exactly where to place that little object, because it was a nerve ending that they could connect to that object some way, somehow, so that your nerve ending was feeding electricity to this little object, and then they would seal the whole apparatus, very small and tiny, but they would seal it with some kind of a solution or a plastic-like material with your DNA embedded in that material, so your body would never see it, and your body is always an electrically charged thing, and so you're continually giving electricity to this little object to beep its signal, and your body will never know it, and you'll never know it. So I just think this whole subject is just phenomenal. And then when you see that it's actually backed up by many different authorities who have checked it out and who have done experiments on these little devices, and all of them are saying basically the same thing. This kind of metal is not found on the earth. We don't know what it is or where it's come from or what it's doing. But we know one thing, it's actually beeping a signal. It really begs the question, what's really going on here? Dr. Leir told me once that he had talked with officials, and they told him that this particular beeping signal was, as I said before, was a very readily well-known signal to those in the position to know about it, that was used by NASA to communicate with the Earth and with their satellites and with the astronauts. It's a particular signal that nobody is allowed to use, period. It is so highly guarded, frequency, and no one is allowed to use it ever except NASA. And then he said, but these little devices that he was taking out of people's bodies were broadcasting on that particular frequency. So as clever as we are and as smart as we think we are, somebody was able to very simply, like an adult to a child, was very simply able to take what you think is so important and so well hidden and laugh at it and put it into a little metal device and use that as a transmitting signal. So it's not only showing that whoever's doing this is superior to anything we have at NASA, far superior to any kind of minds and brains that we have on the earth today, is so far superior that it's just mocking us. It'll use our most important frequencies. It will put implants into your body in such a way you'll never know it. They're playing with you. They're playing you for a fool. And it's just amazing, the technology which is all around us and in us, and we don't even know it because it has nothing to do with football or anything important. This is very legitimate information that's telling us that we are not alone in this universe, and that somebody came here from somewhere else and are very highly technically brilliant intelligences who can operate on humans, and we will never even know it. Our minds, we won't see it. We'll never know it. They wipe it out of our memory, and fix it so that we don't see any scar tissues, and we go through all through your life and never realize that you've been somehow or another being tracked by an electrical device. Aerospace, which is a big part, very big part of the the industrial complex, military industrial complex. People are finally beginning to suspect that's probably the case, because there's been too much smoke not to be a fire, too many good people, too many top military people, police departments, and too many good people around the world reporting what they actually see, and then being ridiculed for it by the government. So we know the government has never told us the truth about anything, period. So why should they not lie about this? So, and 55, that's a while back. I mean, that's a while back. Yeah, that's way back. That's over 50 years ago that they were already anticipating this kind of, and give it another 50 years and bring it up to today. What in the world do we really have that we've not been told? And people are seeing bits and pieces of this with their own eyes, but they're, like you said, the government's saying you're crazy, you're not seeing anything. Well, people are seeing it with their own eyes. And then when we get into UFOs and extraterrestrial presence, I've seen stuff with my own eyes that is not of this world. So I know there's something really serious going on that they're not telling us. So even some of the best scientists we have today are saying there's something else out there too. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because the kind of technology advances we've made in the past few years implies that there's a very high intelligence going on here. And I don't think it's the kind of thing that humans have the potential for. I think we've been given, like Phil Corso was saying, and others like him, many others like him are saying that, we get a lot of our technology from somewhere else. As a matter of fact, when Nikola Tesla, before he died, he was 85 years old, and they were giving him a Lifetime and Achievement Award in New York. And he was speaking at that dinner that night. It was in all the newspapers. Nikola Tesla, Lifetime Achievement Award, speaking in New York to all the big scientists, etc. And he said himself in front of everyone that he said, when I go to sleep at night, I have a pad and pencil by my bed. And when I wake up in the morning, there's an idea, a concept, all outlined for me, but not in my handwriting. And I just take it to the laboratory and start working on what I'm reading, and be damned if it doesn't work. So he says, so somebody's been feeding me technology for a long time in my sleep. They come in and write it down. That's what Nikola Tesla said in front of a huge audience in New York City. I'm being led to do this stuff. So I'm just saying there's more to human life than what meets the eye. Most people have no idea in the world that our galaxy, our Milky Way, which most people can't even fathom in their mind, but our galaxy alone is estimated if you could go at the speed of light, which is 8.5 times around the Earth in 1 second. Speed of light, 8.5 times around the Earth in 1 second. If you could go that fast, it would take you over 100,000 years at that speed, just across our galaxy. 100,000 years going 8 times around the Earth in 1 second. And that's just our galaxy. There's billions multiplied by billions of galaxies. So tell me about God. Tell me about the Lord. And the Lord's going to do this, and the Lord spoke to me last night, and the Lord said this. Tell me about that. Your human brain is not able to actually comprehend the vastness of space and the vastness of creation. So I'm totally convinced we don't even begin to begin to understand the world we live in, the Earth and where it is, and how small we really are. We are nothing more. That's why, nations are referred to as cultures, the different cultures of the world. Culture is like a disease. You look at it under a microscope. So That's what we are. We're just a tiny little culture on somebody else's microscope. And so I'm totally open to the overwhelming fact, in my view, that we have been visited. Ain't no doubt about that.
If you enjoyed this, make sure to watch the next video on AwakenZone. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, but you won't want to miss what's coming next.